Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 18. Hello, Amanda James.
Hello, everyone.
So, we were going to be recording a video tonight anyway, but it was going to be about something different. But we have something else to talk about that just came up today. And what is that, Amanda James?
It's breaking news. We found out today that Lorne's lawyer filed a motion to let him off probation, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there are very interesting tidbits sprinkled through that motion. Upon first glance, it's like, oh, big deal. We all know Lorne's been trying to get off probation for years. Nothing shocking there.
Yeah,
But when you read carefully, something pops out.
it sure does. And that's actually what you were saying, that you just were kind of skimming it over. You're like, okay, cool.
Mhm.
And then it hit you.
It did. It hit me. I was dropping my phone and I'm like, wait, what? Well, that's when I started to question the validity of the document.
Mm-hmm.
It all looked legit, to my untrained eye till that point. But then I was like, wait a minute. Maybe somebody wrote this to fuck with us, which we will discuss.
Absolutely. Yes, we will. So, what we have here is a, I'll just read the full title Defendant's Motion for Early Termination of Supervised Release with Incorporated Memorandum of Law. So, this case is the United States, all of us in the United States, against Lorne Lynn Armstrong.
Oh, that's perfect. Because remember when he apologized? Oh, no, he apologized to the world, not the United States.
Yes. Yes. Well, maybe the next case is going to be the world versus Lord Armstrong.
It should be.
It really should be. Okay. So let's take a look at what it starts off with. So it says, now comes Lorne Armstrong, defendant, through counsel, and respectively moves this honorable court pursuant to 18 USC, and then it gives the code, and 18 USC gives the code, that the balance of his supervised release be terminated and that he be discharged effective immediately. Undersigned counsel has conferred with Assistant United States Attorney Andrew McCormick regarding the relief sought hereby, and he indicates that the government opposes the motion. Undersigned counsel has also conferred with Senior United States Probation Officer Mitchell Oswald regarding the relief sought hereby, and he indicates that his office similarly opposes the motion. In further support of the motion, Mr. Armstrong offers the following incorporated memorandum of law. So, right off the bat, just clear cut says we want to end probation.
Right. Because he's lifetime.
Yes. Yep, he's lifetime. And it doesn't say anything about the registry.
I think you're right. Um, maybe Lawrence lawyer told him that that was too tall of an order
Mm-hmm.
to get him off the registry. Um, I don't know though. I would think that would be equally important to Lauren to get off the registry, because as long as he's on the registry, and for anybody who's read this document and just listen to Lauren in general, we know that the internet bullshit has been a real thorn in his side, according to him. That's what's kind of fucking up his life, is
Yeah.
that he's gotten all this attention and harassment. But as long as he is on the registry, we're going to know where he lives.
Mm-hmm.
He has to disclose that. So it's interesting that that getting off probation is the priority above that.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting. But like you said, that could be something that could go along with it.
Hmm.
So, or maybe it is something completely different. I do remember that when he was going to be revoked the last time, when he was arrested, the reason why he was arrested was because of him getting kicked out of the class. And that meant that um, he was a danger to society, basically, I think is what it came down to, because
Mhm.
he wasn't considered to be in treatment at that time. And so I'm really curious about his class, with it being such an important part of his probation. The fact that they were able to almost revoke him based on him not being in that class, and using that as the reason to hold him. I'm so curious because he's still in treatment. He's never passed.
Mhm.
We looked at his assignments. We saw what a mess those were. We weren't looking at an A student there.
Right, and he hasn't revised any of those assignments.
No.
He did the book and then did it again, but just wrote the same answers.
And also, if he's in independent treatment at this point with a therapist, and from what we know, one of their first things that they needed him to do was to reparent himself, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Doesn't that sound like a step one to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That
So
sort of retraining his inner child or whatever. Yes, that absolutely sounds like step 1. So I
right.
can't imagine he's gone far.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that would be a pretty massive undertaking, I think,
Mhm.
to have to go through that. So now to be at this point and say, "Yep, I'm good." It's kind of like listening to those parole hearings, in particular with Joshua Richardson, where he's like, "I'm completely healed.
Mhm.
I'm a new person now." When clearly he wasn't, and Lorne isn't either. We know that. But how is it that he's still, from what we know, still a part of this class, still in treatment, and that's tied to his probation?
Right. And as probation is opposing this, I'm sure
Mhm.
that's one of their points as
Right.
well. And I have to guess, I don't know for a fact, but I would have to guess that the judge's decision um, weighs, heavily with probation. They're the ones who know this guy. They're the ones who know all the details. And if they're opposing it, I would think the judge would side with them most of the time.
Yeah, well, I think that if Lorne and his attorney were to offer compelling reasons for they had grounded reasons for their request, and it made
Mhm.
sense, then certainly a judge is going to be, I think, inclined to accept it. But the problem, of course, with Lorne is that he doesn't have any of that. And we'll see
Yeah.
that, coming up in here too. But remember this as well. In Lorne's career as a felon, he has filed many motions. He has filed lawsuits. He has
Mhm.
had them all dismissed. He has appealed every single one, and that has also been dismissed.
Right. And like you just said right before we started recording, he chose to ask to end his supervised probation during a revocation hearing
Exactly.
of all times.
Of all times. I know. I know. How are you going to ask to be let off of this when you've broken it? And that's the reason why you're in court.
Right. Well, because this was the first time.
Right. Right. Exactly. I know. It's so funny. It's so funny. But yeah, he has been fighting this from the very beginning. And in fact, like I said, when we first got started, we were going to be talking about something different. And what we were going to talk about was the NBC lawsuit.
Yes.
And while I was looking at that particular lawsuit, I was able to find other motions as well, like when he wanted to have his plea bargain um, reversed.
Hmm.
He wanted to have his sentence changed, and all of that. That all came up too, and I thought those would be good to talk about. And also, his prison journal. I started to skim through that thing, and it is so funny.
I know it is. It really
I
is.
cannot wait to go through that again. But anyway, so we did have other plans. We did have other plans. But this got dropped. But yeah, he's been fighting his sentence from the very, 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 very beginning.
Mhm.
From the moment of his arrest, he's been fighting it. So it doesn't shock me that this happened. Because even when he's been talking in his various relationships, he's talked about getting an attorney and getting off of probation.
Yeah, he was talking to Casey about it.
Hmm.
And he was talking to his attorney about how important it is for him to get out of class and get off probation. And his attorney was telling him, you need to stop talking to Casey. She's going to set you up. This is not demonstrating that you've learned anything. So
Yeah.
Lorne still, while his probation was telling him that he was getting catfished and this was bad news. Even his lawyer was telling him, his lawyer offered to reach out to Casey himself and tell her to leave Lorne alone.
Yeah.
And Lorne was still trying to fight and get off probation.
So this was the attorney that he hired himself to help him get off of probation, correct?
Oh, geez, I don't know. I was just wondering that too. I know Blue Boy shared the letters because Lorne sent the letters that his lawyer sent him, the
Hmm.
correspondence between them, to Casey.
Right.
And the name is on the tip of my tongue, so I'm not sure. Is this one a court appointed though?
No.
Okay, then
But I do think that he would still go out and get his own attorney because you're not required, of course, to have a court appointed one. And I think that he also is thinking that he's had court appointed attorneys this whole time and he's never won anything.
hmm
So maybe
yeah.
he was willing to spend the money he didn't have, max
Oh,
out
well,
those
he
credit
did.
cards, get those loans.
He did. He maxed out a credit card to pay for the lawyer last time. And then I think he took out a loan for a lawyer as well, a
One of
loan
the
that he
payday
never paid.
loans.
I think so. It
Yeah,
all gets very mixed up. There's so many
I know.
stupid choices he's made.
I know. He's the one bumbling incident after another.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, he will not let this go. So again, it's not surprising that he would do this. Um File a motion,
Yeah.
because it seems like every single time that probation does something to him, whether it's they tighten something up on him, that he can't do something anymore, or they tell him no, he has a little tantrum and he wants to hire an attorney and get off of probation. Now, it's never worked before, of course. And I don't think it's going to work again. Like
I
you
don't think
said,
so either.
yeah, I mean, like you said, obviously the judge is going to have to consider both sides. That's what the job is.
Right.
Um, but I'm sure that probation and also the United States of America will have a lot of evidence. A
Yes.
lot of evidence. They were able to provide that at his last hearing for revocation. They had a whole bunch. They were building a case all of that time.
Yeah, there's a ton we could name just off the top of our heads. I mean,
Mhm.
there's the psyche eval does not speak highly of him.
No.
The failed polygraph test, his refusal to stop engaging with people over the phone whose ages he cannot and identities he cannot verify.
Mhm.
He fights with probation every time he has a catfish.
Yeah.
Every time. And that he said it's because he they want him to have a face-to-face relationship, which is stupid. I think we can all agree that that is not what they're saying.
That's not what they're
They're
saying.
yeah, they're saying it's dangerous that you're talking to these women, sending them naked pictures, and having romantic relationships with people whose ages you cannot verify. That's not allowed.
Mhm.
That's a no-no. And an ID with all the relevant information blurred out, an ID that's clearly photoshopped is not enough to verify information.
Right. Right. And they can tell him, no, he can't do that because that links directly to his crime.
Yes.
But yet, he's just going to do what he wants, even when that is so the opposite of what he should be doing. It's not in his best interest at all to do any
No.
of the things that he does when it comes to talking to people over the phone, sending photos, sending personal information, sending financial information. All of this stuff that he says for closeness, it's because I trust you.
Mhm.
It's the worst thing that he can possibly do every single time.
Yeah, his therapist asked him if he was recording their sessions because he was sending his emails with the therapist
Mhm.
to Casey.
Mhm.
And she said that is a breach of contract. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
They could have revoked him for that. She could have kicked him out
Mhm. And then
of
he would have been
counseling.
arrested again.
And then exactly. They've gone easy on him. Honestly, I feel like he
Yeah.
could have gotten in so much more trouble. They could have really put their foot down with him.
Mhm.
Because if you think about the nature of his offense, he was talking to people online romantically, and their age didn't matter to him.
Mhm.
And that's what he's been doing for years after, talking to whoever will give him attention.
Yeah. Imagine
Stupid.
very stupid. Imagine they have a hearing for this, right? We haven't even gone through it yet. And I'm just thinking, almost
Mhm.
daydreaming. Imagine if Allie walked in to testify against him,
Oh, she's fucking perfect.
but she's married.
They fucking turned Allie against me and everything, told her a bunch of lies.
Oh my God, he would be so heartbroken.
He would.
Or even Ashley or whoever he loved as his probation officer.
Hmm.
Yeah.
His most recent therapist, he loves her too.
Mhm.
And we saw her picture
Yeah.
because it's like her contact,
Oh,
next to her contact, it has her picture. And she's like a younger, pretty blonde woman. So, of
sure.
course, he loved her.
Of course. Of course. Uh, he's hasn't trusted anybody as much as he's trusted her, I bet.
No, no, exactly. They're really making progress.
Oh my God. Anyway. You know what's funny about this as well is that senior United States probation officer Mitchell Oswald, this man has been through it with Lorne.
I know.
He really,
Love to
really has.
talk to her.
I would too. I would too. I imagine that they have an entire room dedicated to Lorne's file.
I hope so. God, admission to that room would be like Christmas.
It really I know. I would love to hear their notes. I would love to hear their conversations, like if they have to give report to
Hmm.
somebody and be like, "Yep, went to see Armstrong today, and I walked into his room and he's got posters of this woman on his walls."
And there was a letter sitting on his table with a picture of a supermodel next to it, and
Yeah.
it was covered in tear stains. And he told me that was his girlfriend. I tried to tell him, Lauren, that's not your girlfriend. You're not dating that woman. He started crying, which actually happened, by the way.
Yes, I do recall hearing that there were tear stains, right?
I don't know, maybe,
Oh,
probably, but um, maybe.
oh, this is gonna be good. I can't
Maybe.
wait.
But no, it's Jamie had sent him the letter to recontact because probation made him change his number. So
Uh-huh.
he could not talk to her anymore.
Right.
And so he did. And Jamie somehow oh, that's how. Jamie, got bored one day and was like, "I wonder what Lauren's up to." Wrote him a letter, um, added her phone number on there and said, like, "Call me." Sent a picture of herself and dotted her eyes with a heart, remember? So
Yes,
and of course, Lorne recontacted her, like,
of
immediately.
course.
But one day, he said probation showed up unannounced, and that letter was on his kitchen table. And they, I guess, just randomly saw it, which I don't think is true. I bet he showed them. Because is
Mm.
probation going to go look through his mail on his table?
Why
I
wouldn't
don't think
they?
so. Well, I don't know. Maybe they would, I guess, but maybe. I've never been on probation. Or if I did, I'm not going to tell you guys. But
I won't tell them what we talked about before.
okay, good.
Yeah.
It's a secret. But I kind of feel like he probably picked it up and was like, Jamie fucking wrote me a letter. We're talking again. She sent me a picture so I know she's real.
Oh my God.
And they said, Lauren, that is not your girlfriend.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, that woman is not talking to you on the phone. And he said he got really angry and upset about that.
Mhm. Yeah. I can definitely see him getting really angry and upset,
Mhm.
which is so funny. It's so
It was, and
funny.
then to have to go back and say, well, you're fucking right. The catfish.
Got catfished again.
It was Wine Lover and Reborn.
Oh man. I know. I know. Yeah, so I don't know why probation just showed up unannounced. I mean, I'm sure that it's not the first time that they've done that.
No, I think they do surprise
Yeah.
visits to see if he's, doing something wrong, drinking or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. So maybe they don't necessarily go through just his stuff unless they're searching the place, but
Mhm.
if they're just stopping by, then perhaps the letter really was just sitting out there.
Well, I would not doubt that he had that letter within his sight at all times, for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like he would put it like in a nightstand drawer, like under his pillow or something.
Right.
I don't know. It just seems odd that they walked up to the kitchen table, picked up the one of the many pieces of paper,
Oh
because it's not like
yeah.
his table was clear.
I know, it's not like that was the only thing sitting on there.
No, definitely not. There's an ashtray full of cheap cigarette butts and toenail fungus cream and
Oh.
all kinds of yucky, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Condiments. She's got a bottle of honey there. I can picture it now.
Yeah. Oh, that is so funny. But Mitchell's been around for a really, really long time.
Yeah, isn't Mitchell the one that Lauren said he thought was gay
Yes.
because of the way he wears his hair and the
Uh,
way he looks at Lauren or something?
I can't remember if he said it's because of the way he looks at Lorne. If you can confirm that or someone else
Um,
can, I wouldn't doubt it,
mhm.
but I definitely remember his hair.
Yeah.
Didn't he have like longish hair or something?
I don't, all I remember is Lauren saying the way he wears his hair, but I don't know if he elaborated.
Yeah.
I think he said like he parts it on the side or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yes.
gonna Google Mitchell Oswald. I want to see
Okay.
this hair. I'll report back and
Okay.
then
Yes, thank you. But yeah, Mitchell's been around for a long time, and in fact, I think that he's married to Stacy. I don't
Oh,
remember
really?
seeing. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Her name I think is Stacey Oswald. Yeah.
Okay. So she was, I believe, Lorne's first probation officer. Because you know how they move around and they circle back? Like Mitchell's been around a couple of times, at least
Hmm.
one more. Stacy's same thing. I remember that she was the probation officer that had him do the breathalyzer that he failed. And
Hmm.
there's documents about that too, about him failing. And it was Stacy. And then she came back later. It was another PO.
Yeah, you're right. They cycle
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. So I wonder if there's anyone else like this that they have to monitor or have so much interaction with or so much documentation about.
I think Lorne is really unique
Mm-hmm.
because of the internet attention and um, the To Catch a Predator infamy.
Yeah,
I doubt in rural Maine they have anyone like him.
absolutely. I agree. There can't be. There
Mm-mm.
can't be. So there maybe there's people who are more physically dangerous. You know, maybe
Yeah,
there's people who are more confrontational or they get agitated really easily and they have to watch out for drug use and stuff like that. But you're right, Lorne is very, very unique in that I don't think there's very many that they walk into their rundown trailer and see posters of a model who's stunning, beautiful, and this gargoyle is claiming that that is his girlfriend.
yeah.
You know, and I wonder if there are any other people on probation that have cried in front of them as much as Lorne has.
Probably not. Lauren cries a remarkable amount for a
Mhm.
man. I think
Yeah.
for a person in
Yeah.
general, but and publicly cries.
Yes.
But I wonder also, I think he's unique in the way that there's nobody else that they can glean so much information about
Mhm.
from sort of behind the, like, how do I say it? By listening to the Lorne calls, which they have,
Mhm.
they know they exist, you get an inside peek at Lorne's, the personality that he hides from probation
Mhm.
and from his class and all that. You know, he puts on this show when he goes in there, he does the whole victim thing. He never does anything wrong. Other people treat him really badly. And then they can go on YouTube and see how he really is.
Yes. Yeah, they
And
busted him drinking
mhm,
from listening to Ramona.
exactly. Well, and just his abusive tendencies,
Mhm.
his abusive and psychotic tendencies. They can't, there's nobody else you can do that unless you're like tapping their phone calls, which they obviously don't do.
Yeah. They did tap into his text messages though.
They sure did.
That's really funny. That is so funny
I
to
know, especially
man.
he knew that he was being monitored,
Mhm.
but then he was surprised when they were monitoring him.
I know. And how embarrassing.
I would die. Wouldn't you die?
Yes.
I would die. If how could you ever face a person again? Those text messages were fucking raunchy too. Did they
Mhm.
ever release those?
I don't remember.
That
I
you
don't
would remember.
recall. Okay.
You would remember. That's how bad they were. There was tons of butthole talk.
Oh.
That's all they, because the girls, of course, were trying to be as absolute, like Winnie, you know, they were trying to
Yeah.
be as disgusting as possible to see just how far Lorne would go along with it. And he went all the way. The only thing, they didn't do the bathroom talk like Winnie did,
Uh-huh. Right.
but it was it was disgusting.
Uh-huh.
And Lorne went right along and added his 2 cents to it, and his probation officer read it and had to tell him to stop being gross. It was the funniest thing ever.
That is
Said,
really
"Whoops, I didn't know you was reading them."
funny. Does that sound like someone who's ready to be off of probation?
No.
No, absolutely not. And by the way, the assistant United States Andrew McCormack, I believe, was on his revocation hearing as well.
Okay.
That name looks familiar. Yeah. So he must be like, oh, we're gonna do this again. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure this is all the same people. It's a small county,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Or
It's
I
like
mean,
a
it's a pretty
small
large
area.
county, but I mean, it's a small population.
Hmm.
So these people know, they know all about Lauren.
Yeah. So let's get into what Mr. Armstrong has to offer in this motion. So the next section is factual and procedural background. Would you like to read?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, my screen's small.
That's okay.
On June 30th, 2008, Mr. Armstrong was sentenced by the Honorable Thomas B. Russell, U.S. District Judge for the Western District of Kentucky to 60 months imprisonment and lifetime supervised release for violation of 18 U.S.C. blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. See June 30, 2008 docket entry in United States versus Lorne Armstrong, U.S. District, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. So let's go to the next page. There you go.
Mr. Armstrong's supervised release commenced on November 5th, 2012. Jurisdiction of Mr. Armstrong's supervised release was transferred to the District of Maine on January 11th, 2013. Mr. Armstrong has thus been subject to supervised release for more than a decade. And funny, he was sentenced to lifetime.
Exactly what I was
So
going
he
to
has
say.
that bitchin'. Yeah.
I know
Get used
why.
to it.
Why are you giving us a road so far? That
Yeah.
this is to be expected. This is nothing that's shocking or, oh wow, he's been on supervised release for more than a decade.
I know. It's like saying the defendant was sentenced to life in prison. He's been there for a decade. Enough of this. Just let him out.
Right, exactly. So now we have the legal argument here.
Oh, I bet it's really good.
It's going to be really good. Do you want to take it away?
Sure. Pursuant to 18 U.S. Blah, 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 the district court has authority to terminate a term of supervised release and discharge the defendant released at any time after the expiration of 1 year of supervised release, if it is satisfied that such action is warranted by the conduct of the defendant released in the interest of justice. Right, that's a big if. That if should be highlighted, circled, underlined, and in bold.
Agreed.
Um, See also US, blah, 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 blah. Also, so it also directs the court to consider factors set forth in 18 U.S.C. Such factors include the nature and circumstances of the offense, the history and characteristics of the defendant, and the need to protect the public from further crimes of the defendant.
So,
Right?
it's an interesting argument so far, right? So basically they're saying, "Hey, the court can stop supervised release. You can discharge this person as long as they've completed at least 1 year."
Right. Which he has.
He has done that, of course. But it also says, if it is satisfied that such action is warranted by the conduct of the defendant released and the interest of justice.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. That's where the problem lies here.
So they should have stopped before those dots, is what you're saying.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. That is where the argument for me falls apart as well. The interest of justice. Justice was interested in being carried out for the rest of Lorne Armstrong's life.
Exactly. And it basically says if their behavior warrants the release.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's based on the characteristics and um, the history and characteristics of the defendant. And when we look at Lawrence's history and characteristics, they don't fit somebody who should be released. That probation has many good reasons to keep him there.
Yes. Yeah. We're not talking about someone who was released from prison, has gone through everything that they've told him to do, has been a productive member of society in that he's been working. He's been keeping his head down and being quiet. and just staying out of trouble. He didn't
Mhm.
go through any of that stint with drinking excessively. He didn't cause problems and argue with them about NBC and how this is all bullshit and threatening them to bring his mother and his aunt in there to give them a piece of their mind.
Mhm.
Um, so we're not talking about that. We're not talking about someone who I think would be at least in a more positive position.
Yeah.
Lorne's already gone to prison for breaking said probation. How
Not
is
that
it?
long ago
No,
either.
it's absolutely not that long ago, and they're going to try to downplay that in here.
Yeah, I know. It and part of the reason he went back to prison, well, the reason he went back to prison was because he violated his sex offender treatment, which could be one of the most
Mhm.
important parts of probation,
Right. And
which
think,
he has never taken seriously
mhm.
or realized the value in passing that class.
No, he doesn't think that he belongs there. That's for a true predator. He's not a predator.
Right. He's never taken responsibility for what
No,
he did.
no, exactly. And that's why he'll never be successful.
Mhm.
And that's why he's still dangerous.
Absolutely. There's an excuse. There's a reason why he did what he did,
Hmm.
and therefore it can be excused.
Yeah.
It's not just who he is.
Hmm.
And I mean, we've talked about this a million times, but
Hmm.
as long as he doesn't take responsibility for it, he's at the chance of reoffending.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. He's already demonstrated that he's a predator.
Hmm.
So, you know how they say that when somebody shows you who they are, believe them?
Hmm.
This is a great example of that. Lawrence already shown it. He didn't intend to. His conversation wasn't meant for us to see, but it was exposed. And when he was exposed, we saw who he was. Who he was is who is in that chat log.
Yeah.
That's it. How manipulative. And even when you hear him talking to someone like Rhoda, how manipulative he was there as
Hmm.
well. And how it was all about secrecy, keeping the secret from mommy, right?
Hmm.
And how
Absolutely.
vile and gross those conversations were, but those were real. That was Lorne.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
mhm,
the Rhoda stuff is what really brings that home.
mhm.
That he has not changed one bit
No,
since his Yahoo chat room days.
no, no. He's a sexual deviant.
Hmm.
He is a degenerate who there's no bottom for him. You would think that, and you would hope that someone wouldn't be capable of going to that bottom, but he is. And
Yeah.
that's why he has to be watched forever. That's why he has to be on this registry forever, because he is dangerous. And people like him flourish when they're in secrecy.
Hmm.
That's when they're the most dangerous. And that's when they are the most successful because they prey upon others and they get somebody like either a child, or we know that Rhoda wasn't technically a child. She was much younger and she was very, very immature. And Lorne was more than happy to play into that and be this daddy role that turned into something really, really disgusting. And it's so scary to imagine that he would ever be in that position. And we'll talk about that too.
Yeah, he was, yes, we will.
Hmm.
Rhoda was a vulnerable person, just like the real life girls that he talked to.
Hmm.
That's who he preys on. He will take advantage of that vulnerability. Even Winnie, if you look at the Winnie character, she was fucked up.
Yeah.
She was, obviously not in her right mind. Again, a vulnerable person, and Lorne will, use that to his advantage, which is predatory.
Hmm.
And lucky for us and for the rest of Maine, I think probation knows that.
Yeah, they would have to. Yeah, I think they do. I think they definitely know who they're dealing with. I think that the people in class know who they're dealing with. I think that his therapist know who they're dealing with as well.
Mhm.
And even though it's difficult, we may not agree with everything that happens, and we want only the most severe of punishment to happen every single day. The reality is that's not going to happen,
Yeah.
you know. But as long as they know, and if at the end of the day, a motion like this gets denied, that's when the system is working.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, to continue on here, they're saying such factors include the nature and circumstances of the offense. I mean, they speak for themselves. He was preying upon a child, and he went to go and meet that child.
And to protect the need to protect the public from further crimes of the defendant.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge as well. He never passed sex offender treatment class.
Mm-hmm.
He again, I'm saying the same things over and over again, but he continues to talk to people whose ages can't be verified. There was the little girl in Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Him not being monitored means that he will repeat these things.
Yes.
And it's their job to protect the public from him.
Yes, exactly. It's keeping him out of that secrecy.
Hmm.
It's
Right,
making
by
sure,
monitoring. Yeah.
yeah, by monitoring and making sure that everybody knows. So that's where the registry would come in.
Hmm.
But making sure that they are looking into his stuff, that they can show up at any time.
That his internet usage is monitored, which
Mhm.
is a huge, huge part of it.
Definitely. Definitely. And what they say here, the history and characteristics of the defendant. How many lie detector tests has he failed?
Right. I know. It's so silly to me that I know the lawyer is just doing his job. Lorne says, "Get me off probation." That's what I want.
Mhm.
File a motion. He's going to do it. He's going to
Mhm.
try. But looking at his history is awful. It makes him look absolutely terrible. He failed a lie detector test for searching for media involving children for sexual satisfaction.
Mhm.
How do you? And then he admitted it. He admitted all kinds of terrible things about children. Not
Yeah.
again, not that long ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And who knows
Exactly.
what's happened since since the contact that we were able to hear has
Mhm.
ended.
Right.
Who knows what's happened in the time that they haven't, Lauren hasn't been communicating with anybody that we know to record
Mhm.
it. He could have
Right.
failed more.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it would make sense that he would, right? It
Yeah, absolutely.
would definitely make sense that he would. So, as far as this portion of the legal argument, what say you? Granted or no?
No, like you said, all it's saying is the court has the ability to terminate. Just because somebody's sentenced to lifetime probation doesn't mean they need to actually serve lifetime probation.
Right. Right.
But there are factors to consider.
Right. So let's see
So
if it
I
gets any better.
deny. Okay.
All right. So they're denied on the first one. Let's see. All right. So the next part starts. Additionally, the Guide to Judiciary Policy, Volume 8, Probation and Pretrial Services, Part E, authorizes the court to terminate terms of supervised release in felony cases after the expiration of 1 year of supervision, if satisfied that such action is warranted by the conduct of the offender is in the interest of justice. So essentially, we just have like a reiteration
Mm-hmm.
of, so this appears to be in a guide that's used by the judge.
Right. Understood. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to the next page. Okay. Actually, let me just make sure that I didn't skip anything. Whoops. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure. Don't want to get yelled at. All right. So starting page 3. So we have the two arguments, which basically is there's just one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's saying you can, there's an option in the law that says you can let somebody off of probation after 1 year.
Hmm.
Okay. So now, present status of the case is the next section. Would you like to let us know what that says?
Yes, it says during Mr. Armstrong's decade plus on supervised release, it appears from a review of the docket that he has only once come before the court for a hearing on a petition to revoke. This occurred some 4.5 years ago. That petition and the admissions that flowed therefrom predominantly involved Mr. Armstrong's, oh, I can't see, Mr.
Impermissible.
Impermissible use of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
For those violations, Mr. Armstrong was sent back to federal prison for a period of 6 months. Mr. Armstrong has not personally appeared before the court since October of 2019. As of this writing, there are currently no pending petitions to revoke. I'm assuming that's what it says. Yeah,
Yeah.
to revoke. He has maintained a straight line and he has not been back before the court. Counsel is unaware of any instances of Mr. Armstrong causing problems for the probation officer or of him being dishonest with probation. There have been no additional allegations of misconduct around his use of alcohol or his use of the internet. This straight line has been maintained for more than 4.5 years. Mr. Armstrong no longer appears to be bumping up against the guardrails of that supervised release is meant to provide. In the meantime, Mr. Armstrong has become a father. Mr. Armstrong intends to relocate to be with his baby and the mother of his child.
Okay.
And yeah.
We're going to pretend like those last two sentences didn't happen yet.
Right, we'll get to that. There's a couple things to address before the
Yes,
bombshell in
exactly.
here.
Holy. Okay. So what are they saying here, essentially?
They're saying he hasn't been, he did get revoked and he got sent back to prison for 6 months, but that was for drinking,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the failed breathalyzers.
Mm-hmm.
That's when that happened. But he hasn't gone back in front of the court since then. It was 4.5 years ago. And counsel's not even aware of any times that he's been dishonest with probation or done anything wrong, which is interesting because I think probation would have a different opinion on that. He's
They
been
will.
dishonest many times. The failed lie detector tests,
Mm-hmm.
lie detector would prove otherwise.
Right. I
He's
mean,
been very dishonest.
maybe his attorney needs to actually go to their office and take a look at that file room that has Lorne Armstrong's name on it.
Yeah, it's like Lauren's self-assessment in the psych eval.
Yeah,
That's going on here.
exactly. Exactly. So he basically asked, "Hey, Lauren, how you doing on probation?" Be like, "I'm doing great. Haven't
I wasn't
messed up."
telling the truth. I told him the truth about lying when I failed my polygraph test.
Mm-hmm.
I, I admitted it. Told the truth after I lied.
Exactly. Yeah, he was lying and being honest about
Yeah,
it.
I know I'm lying, but at least I'm being honest about it.
What a stupid thing to say.
I know.
But I mean, this is exactly right. This is basically a self assessment of Lorne. He hasn't been maintaining a straight line for 4.5 years. He
Yeah.
has not been doing what probation wants him to do. Lorne does what he wants to do. If that happens to fall in line with what probation is asking of him, then great.
Right.
But if it doesn't, I mean, think about all of the years that he was drinking uncontrollably.
Yeah. But again, he just like with the parole hearing we listened to or we watched last time, the guy going on about how alcohol was the root of the issue. That's
Mhm.
kind of what the lawyer's trying to say here. Like, oh,
Yeah.
he was revoked just because of alcohol. but he hasn't been drinking. He wasn't revoked just because of alcohol. That's
Mhm.
also when he got kicked out of the class, when it was revealed that Winnie let him listen, or I'm sorry, he let Winnie listen to a class, and there was a recording of him saying that he wanted to beat up the sex offenders in the class.
Mhm.
That was another reason. So it wasn't just that he had a problem with addiction, because people can be good people and struggle with alcoholism.
Sure.
It doesn't necessarily mean you're bad. So I feel like lawyers always sort of jump to the alcohol thing, like it's the root of every problem, but because it's fixable.
Sure. Yeah. And if you were to ask somebody, um, are you different when you drink versus when you don't? What,
Hmm.
was there a common denominator in when you were acting out, when you were fighting with people, or when you were getting into trouble? Were you drinking? Yes. Okay. Well, let's take away the alcohol. I think that's why a lot of times in sentencing or, when they're trying to make a plea, do you want to go to treatment? Yes, I do.
Right.
That's always what it is, right?
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of the same thing. I mean, the problem that Lorne has had hasn't been just related to alcohol. Was alcohol a problem? Yes, because not only was he drinking excessively, which he wasn't supposed to be doing at all, and he's lucky that at the beginning of his probation, they were allowing him to drink. It just couldn't be excessive. They didn't if he wanted to have a beer, that would have been fine. But the
Right.
problem was that he was causing problems because he was drinking too much. He was showing up to class drunk off of fruit juice. Remember that one?
Yes. Yeah.
And then there were other times too when they would show up and he would have beer bottles everywhere. And
Hmm.
he was having the problem with Nikki. So there were
Yeah.
there were a lot of problems that were happening, and sure, you can say, okay, we'll take away the alcohol, but taking away that alcohol didn't take away the stalking of Nikki.
Hmm.
Lorne doesn't just stalk or send harassing emails, text messages because he's drinking. He does that sober.
Yeah, and he was sober when he failed those polygraph tests.
Yes, he was. Yeah. So sure, alcohol was a problem for Lorne. Definitely. He was drinking and driving consistently.
Hmm.
That's a massive issue. I'm so irritated that he didn't get another DUI.
I know. I know. That's why even if he did get off probation, which I highly doubt this motion would be granted, but even if he did, I honestly wouldn't lose sleep over it. He would get busted. It would be just a matter of time before he was busted again, probably by DUI.
Hmm.
I would think that's how he would get caught. Even though he did get away with it for quite a while.
Oh, sure he did. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is that, in a place like Cornville, Maine,
Mhm.
you're not going to have the roadblocks that set up, the sobriety checks. They don't, you know, they're going to be more reactive policing. So when Lorne launched himself into the house, that's
Yeah,
when they showed up.
right. Well, and that's when they'd show up next time too.
Yeah.
He'd he'd crash into Mother Dear's house maybe,
Mhm.
or something. I have no doubt he'd get himself back in trouble.
Well, I mean, he's a criminal. He's
Right.
got a criminal
Right.
mind. He's going to do what he has to do, or what he wants to do, I should say. And
You know,
unfortunately, if that goes against the law, then oh well.
it would be great though.
Mhm.
If he did get off probation, he would be free to use the internet, which of course would be horrible because he would use it for nefarious purposes, I know.
Mhm.
But he would immediately come to us. And I think that would be really wonderful. Because maybe he'd start up his YouTube channel
Oh
again,
my God.
but
Yes.
he would definitely comment on all the material about him, and that would be
Hmm.
great to see.
That would be great to see. Yeah.
He'd comment TikTok.
Oh my gosh. I
TikTok.
know. I know. That would be funny. His comments were funny, especially on his videos because he would get so angry, especially when people were just taking things from his chat log, and that would be the entire comment.
Uh-huh.
And he would just go off on that person, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like those are your words, Lauren. You should be mad at yourself.
Well, he hasn't read the chat log 100 times like us, so he has no idea
That is
what
true.
it says.
He doesn't understand how quotable he is.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, I mean, it's laughable that it says he's maintained a straight line.
Mhm.
No, he hasn't gone back to court. But think of all the times that he didn't go to court prior to when he actually went. Because each
Yeah,
time that he signed the modification to his probation, that was essentially a court order. He just didn't go. He just didn't happen to get arrested.
right. They let them pile up
Hmm.
to use it. It doesn't just go away just because he didn't go to court for it.
Right. Yeah, and he made it sound like I just sign a paper. No, it's way bigger than that.
And I'm sure when the response to this comes, probation will list all those occasions
Yes.
that he has bumped up against the guardrail, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, and he absolutely has.
Hmm.
He absolutely has. He's not a model probationee for sure.
No.
For
Mm-mm.
sure. So anyway, let's go to the little baby elephant in the room over here.
My God, what is happening with the world? I I was so shocked when I read that. I already told you, but I was like, no, this cannot be real. This can't be legit.
Hmm. So
He's become a
what what are your thoughts?
I don't even know. So I'm trying to put the pieces together, and I've been trying to put the pieces together since this was presented to me, or since it came to my attention.
Since your life
And I'm
changed.
yeah, I know, seriously. So I remember I couldn't get a hold of the screenshots of the comments, but there have been little like whispers along the way for a little while now. People would randomly say things either in YouTube comments or on the temple or somewhere. Little bits would come out, and there were these comments left on videos about Lorne, and I wish I could get a hold of them so so I could be clear about what they said. But to my memory, they said something like, I know somebody who went on a road trip and saw Lorne and took his virginity, and he cried afterwards. Um, and it was implied, or it was said that it was a troll. They couldn't say too much because they didn't want to ruin the troll, and
Mhm.
then the comments were deleted. And of course, that sounds like bullshit. People say stuff all the time about Lorne that are untrue, just to, I don't know, get attention or something. People
Mhm.
say stupid stuff all the time.
Mhm.
So I guess that's kind of what I thought was going on there. But if you put the pieces together, because how else is Lauren going to meet a woman? Like, did he meet one in real life at the yard sale to get her pregnant? No, I don't think so. But would somebody who knows all about Lauren from YouTube, from his infamy, actually go? We know somebody would go see him. Two people have so far,
Yes.
Sue and the Canadian couple.
Mhm.
So, yes, obviously they would go see him, but would they take it so far as to sleep with him and have his baby? I don't know. Or what I'm thinking could be a possibility. I don't know how likely it is, but what if Lauren is being catfished and the catfish character has a baby, and Lauren has decided that she's a single mother, and he's like, well, I'll be the father. And that's what he means.
Mhm.
Like he told his lawyer, he's recently become a father. but an adopted, not his real biological child. That's a possibility, right? I mean,
That is a
no?
possibility. It does not say biological in there to
Right.
different, to specify for sure that it
And
is. Mhm.
it says he wants to relocate with his child, with his baby and the mother. So they're long distance.
Yes. Oh yeah.
They're not. She's not a local Cornvillian.
Mhm.
Cornvillian.
Right.
I just don't know. I don't know about that. Because what we do know is that the lawyer wouldn't lie and say that Lauren has a baby if he knows that Lauren doesn't have a baby. What we know is Lauren told his lawyer that he has recently become a father.
Correct. So there's no evidence that the lawyer is aware of to say that he is not a father,
Right.
because that would mean he'd be lying, which he can't do.
Mhm. Right.
But he also doesn't have to see the baby.
Yeah, he doesn't have to ask for a DNA test or a birth certificate or
Hmm.
any proof, right? He can just Lauren says he's a dad, so he just goes by that. He also said Lauren hasn't been dishonest with probation.
Well, that is true. But interestingly enough, at the bottom of this page, there's a footnote. And it said the docket also indicates he admitted to a violation of the special condition regarding sex offender treatment by withholding information about his alcohol use.
Oh,
So
so,
they just wanted to kind of shove that in at the bottom there.
yeah, the footnote where it won't be read worked on
Mhm.
me. I didn't read it. Maybe a judge would miss that part too.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully,
That's very funny.
yeah.
He
Um,
hasn't been dishonest with probation. P.S. He actually was.
right. Actually, actually, he was. We're just gonna whisper it and put it down here at the bottom.
Right.
We want to talk about how he's walking the straight line. Straight line Lorne is what we call him now.
Right. That's what everybody calls him.
Yeah.
'Cause he's not fucking gay.
That's right. Um, but yeah, I mean, this this definitely threw me for a loop as well. He's become a father, intends to relocate to be with his baby and the mother of his child. So while it doesn't say biological, I can see what's implied.
I
His
agree.
baby and the mother of his child.
I agree.
Although, yeah, I mean, I that tells me that this is his baby.
I know. I'm trying to think of any way around it because that's so crazy.
Well, think about it in the way of LJ as well. Think about how he was told that he had a son.
Hmm.
And although it wasn't something that was long lasting and any of that, he still went along with the story,
Yeah, didn't he tell his mother
allegedly.
about LJ? Right. Yeah, I guess we don't really know.
No,
So you're thinking it's possible that somebody told Lauren that he's a dad.
it's possible, yes,
It is, yes. But you know what that means?
that they had sex.
That means that they had sex, yes, because Lauren is a dumb man. He is very gullible, but
Hmm.
he does know how babies are made. You cannot trick him into thinking that you had his baby if you never have had sex with him or been, physically in the same. I don't believe it. Okay, so sorry, people, the virgin debate is not looking good.
Oh man, you're breaking hearts tonight.
I know people are going to be really upset by that.
Yeah.
Really, really upset. I am so curious and fascinated to know what the fuck is happening. Are you freaking out? Who had sex with Lorne?
You need to step forward.
Come explain your fucking self right now,
Absolutely.
Missy. You trash bag. What are you thinking?
Oh my gosh. I know. I know. So, if we were to look at this on the serious side of things, that is scary.
Well, I think both you and I have always said there are women in the world who would sleep with Lauren.
Yes.
I think that's kind of the crux of some people's virgin debate argument that nobody would sleep with him. They would. They do. They are. There are women that are just as desperate and fucked up
Hmm.
as Lauren. It's just, would he have the opportunity to meet one of those women?
If they presented her, if she presented herself to him by
Hmm.
way of a letter, phone calls, a meeting at a meeting place,
Hmm.
all of those things could have all come together.
They could have, for sure. And this one actually showed up and did it because, like I said, we know there are people who know about Lauren. They know all the details of who he is and what
Hmm.
he's done, and they went there.
They sure
Who
did.
like lived there?
Yeah, and she would have had sex with Lorne if he didn't turn her down.
That was her plan. She, in her like initial letter writing to him, she told him about how she's fit, her weight and height, what she looks like, how she works out and stays active. She sent a picture of herself that was from like 1995, sure, but
Mhm.
she sent a flattering picture of herself. She absolutely wanted to hook up with Lauren.
Yeah.
And you're right, he turned her down. He said, I've got Jamie on and I've got Jamie here.
Well,
So
she was
I'm
too
going to send
old.
you on. Yeah, she sent him over to Roy. He might have had a different um, reaction if he didn't have such a beautiful, he thought Jamie was real at that time. So
Mhm.
if he was alone, he might have had a different reaction. But nonetheless, he sent her on to Roy. But
Mhm.
she would have. You're right. She absolutely would have. And who
Yeah.
knows about the Canadian couple? Who knows what the fuck they're up to?
Who knows exactly? But it's really scary, the idea that there is a woman who will place her child in front of Lorne Armstrong and also have him living with them.
I know. I know. You have to wonder. Like Lauren told Jamie that if they had a baby, Jamie would have to take um, special classes to know what to watch
Hmm.
for him for the baby to be safe around him. And I think he said he could never be alone with the child.
Hmm.
And you have to wonder what woman would ever agree to that. Every motherly instinct in every cell of your body would tell you danger, danger.
Hmm.
Don't do that. Stay away from this man.
Hmm.
But there are some who would do it. We know that. I mean, we know that there are women who their husbands get caught doing something horrible and they support them. Just like in
Yes.
the recent parole hearing we watched, the man's ex-wife still supported him.
Hmm.
But that is almost more, it's not understandable. I don't understand it at all. It's disgusting. It's fucked up. But that is more understandable because they already love this person. They already know them and
Yeah.
love them and it's easier to make excuses for them or to try to dismiss it, downplay it, whatever they have to do
Hmm.
to still be in this person's life. But that's not the case with Lorne here. They met after all this terrible stuff about him was exposed.
Hmm. Yeah. And continue to be exposed
Mhm.
for years after. Yeah.
Very confusing.
It is. It's very confusing. I am also interested to know what this means, who this person is, what their
Mhm.
relationship is, what happened, where they live. Like
Yeah.
what type of a distance are we talking about here? I would
Mhm.
imagine it's a pretty big distance. I'm also
Yeah,
curious.
probably.
Yeah, I'm also curious to know. what probation has to say about this because he's still on probation.
Well, yeah, but according to Lorne, this should get him off probation because probation, they've been telling him all along, in order to get out of the class, he needs to be in a face-to-face relationship. And
Well,
now he is. So,
sure, that is true. But because that's based on Lorne's understanding, or I should say Lorne's
self-assessment,
misunderstanding, yeah, his self
right?
assessment of himself, that is not how it's going to work.
No, you're right. I know. I think it was when we were discussing earlier, you would think that he needs monitoring now more than ever if there is a child involved.
Oh, yeah,
This is not the time to ask to get off probation. This is the most dangerous time
I agree.
because what he's not allowed near schools, near playgrounds, because even if he got off probation, he's on the sex offender registry. He still has that
Mm-hmm.
cross to bear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's not allowed near schools, near playgrounds, near any place where children primarily go. How is he supposed to pick up his kid from school or go to parent teacher conferences? Or what if this kid wants to have sleepovers, birthday parties?
Mm-hmm.
How would this even work?
He can't be there. Or
Who?
he at least would have to have somebody else there with him.
Oh my God, who would condemn a child to that?
Lorne and this bitch.
Who the fuck is this woman? I am, I'm, I don't know. That's why I'm grasping so hard onto the catfish theory
Yeah.
because I really don't want it to be true. And it's not, I know a lot of people just don't want Lauren to be happy because they don't think he deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, he doesn't. But it, more importantly, in my opinion, is that any kid doesn't deserve this.
No, no, absolutely not. No, no child deserves this. No. To be born into that type of environment,
Hmm.
in danger, immediately in danger.
Yeah. And subject to the worst ostracization. I don't know if I said that right, but just like Lorne is.
Mhm.
Lorne is sentencing them to that just like him. He'll always be known as the pedophile who was caught on NBC, and his kid will always be known as the pedophile's kid.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Can't go over their house, little Timmy.
Yeah, never. Who would allow that?
Right. I know. Anywhere near. I mean, truly anywhere near. Yeah. It's it's really heartbreaking to imagine that there could possibly be a child that would have to have Lorne as their father. He should be separated from them forever. That's what he deserves. That's the condition that he created.
Hmm.
He did this to himself.
Hmm.
But yet this entire time he's been fighting against it because we're supposed to treat him like he's normal. Like he doesn't do anything wrong. He walks that straight line of probation. What do you mean? He's not dangerous. He never hurt anybody. He's loved kids ever since he was a kid, right?
Yeah, a little too much.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. Like how I don't know. This person, if this is real, and we do have to always question it. So until it's confirmed, then it's up in the air,
Hmm.
you know. But it's here, so I'm going to talk about it.
Of course, yeah.
Um but it's so disturbing just to know as well that this child's mother is just like Lorne Armstrong. Because if you're excusing him and you're allowing him to just be like a normal guy, he's not a predator. No, that was just some perverted justice NBC thing. He didn't want to go there. People have treated him badly his whole entire life. He was never close to anybody. He's never had relationships. He's never dated. No one ever gave him the opportunity. If you just do that, he's going to be fine. But because nobody did that, his family took advantage of him. He went down a really dark path. And he's not doing that anymore, and he's not going to. Bullshit.
You know what though? If you want to dismiss all that and give Lorne a chance for your and be with him yourself, fine. Go ahead. You know, you want to put yourself in the path of a fucking sexual deviant, of a pervert, a pedophile, an abusive, a loser as well. If you want to do that to yourself, fine. Go ahead. Don't put a baby there.
Yeah.
Don't bring an innocent child into it, of all the people to have a baby with. Why Lorne? I think that was the one comforting thing about it, is that Lorne had reached the age he won't be a father. And this woman has got to be significantly younger, because Lorne's in his 50s now. 50-year-old women very rarely have babies.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
She's got to be, God, who knows? Younger, obviously. Who knows how young?
Yeah, I know. Exactly. That's the thing. This is Lorne. This is lady version of Lorne. Yeah. And if there is a child, they have two scumbags as parents. And that mother has the trauma, the abuse, the terror, whatever comes along with having Lorne as the father. She owns all of that because she created that with him. I don't understand. I don't understand how a woman is going to have a child with a monster.
I don't either. And include him in the child's life. That's the thing. Even say this was just some trash bag woman who went up to see Lorne, had sex with him because she's disgusting, but didn't intend to get pregnant, right? So she finds out she's pregnant, um, and doesn't believe in abortion and doesn't want to give the child up for adoption. Fine. There's no reason for her to even tell Lorne that she had a baby, or let him be involved in the child's life at all.
Right.
They're long distance.
Yeah.
She didn't have to tell him anything.
No, nothing. I mean, because even with that too, what type of support, like even if you were looking for financial support, what does Lauren give you? Nothing.
Yeah.
He's going to give
From
you
Palace?
bankruptcy. Yeah.
Right. Nothing at
Exactly.
all.
Exactly.
She would get more support from being on welfare as a single mother. She would get far more money that way.
Yeah. Ugh.
And I just don't know. We need more information on this.
Yeah.
And I imagine when, so I mean, I don't know how any of this works. When probation responds, that will be publicly available, right?
Yes.
Or is it just denied? Like, because I think it will be denied. But probation, I would imagine, would have to lay out their argument.
Yeah, they would have to file a response.
Okay.
So it seems to me like that would be public and it would be available as well.
I really hope so, because I would be very interested to hear what they have to say about this child here.
Yeah. And so on Pacer, every page that you download is 10 cents. And I don't care how many pages that is, that response is.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like I hope that it is a wealth of information. I hope it's giant. I hope that it needs a binder. You know.
Yeah, I hope it costs a lot. Exactly.
Yeah, I hope it costs a lot. I hope there's so much and they just dismantle the truly what I think is the weak argument to say, well, the
Yeah.
court can let you off in a year if after a year if you've completed that. That's really all that they've said.
And he's only been in trouble once,
Yes.
which
And that's the thing, probation can march in there
mhm.
with a list of all of the disciplinary problems that they've had with him. Just because it wasn't in front of the court didn't mean that it didn't happen. They're going to have all of that recorded.
And even if it was just that one time, which of course it wasn't, but he went back to prison. He
Yes.
did something bad enough that they sent him back to prison for a half a year. That's a long time. That's a big deal.
Mhm.
Like I don't think it's just, oh well, it was just one time, no big deal. I don't think that's a good argument.
No. No. No, it isn't. Well, I'm sure we'll have more to say about this baby coming up.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, honestly.
I know. It's a tough one. It's inconceivable. I think that, like I said earlier, it's not surprising that he's going to file a motion to get off of probation. It's what he's always
Right,
wanted.
right,
This this is exactly what no one would ever want, ever.
right. Hmm.
For the safety of that child. And like you said, it's not because of let's just have Lorne be miserable for the rest of his life. I also don't care. I don't
Yeah.
care about that. You want to find some trash bag of a woman who's going to tolerate your bullshit, then fucking have at
Yeah, fine. I hope she records your fight.
it. Yeah, exactly. I hope
I'd
she
love
has a
to
YouTube
watch it.
channel. Exactly.
Right. Don't care. Live
Exactly.
happily ever
Mhm,
after. Don't care.
mhm,
Yeah, it's the concern comes in obviously in this case when she has his baby,
mhm,
which is just fucking crazy, or if she had children of her own. The concern is when there's any innocent children involved at
mhm.
all.
So I suppose that if they're, say this is true,
Mhm.
and he really did procreate, I'm gonna vomit
I know.
just even imagining that, but he did. The best case scenario is that this is a boy.
Uh,
It is.
I know, because he's not gay and it's super gay to molest boys, which is just disgusting in Lauren's mind. So you're right. That is the best case. It's just so awful though. Yeah, that the child would be safer from his sexual perversions,
Mhm,
definitely,
mhm.
but not safe from having the life of the son of a pedophile.
Right. Right. Exactly. They'd be accusing him pretty quickly.
Mhm.
You know.
And according to Lauren, his brothers um have the same mindset as Lauren, only they don't think it's so gay to do that to little boys. According to Lauren,
According to Lorne.
another great reason to bring a child into your family.
Yeah. Ugh. All right. Let's see what else this has to say.
Okay.
Do you want to do us the honors here?
Yeah, I think I don't know if my screen is oh no, okay. Let's see, where are we? In the meantime, he's become a father. Oh God. Okay, I found it. As the court As the court is aware, Mr. Armstrong's underlying offense was a subject of the American reality television series To Catch a Predator.
Okay, there you
As a result, a veritable cottage industry of online/internet sites have since been created that are dedicated to Mr. Armstrong, his original offense, and the status of his performance while on supervised release. That's funny. It's true. Mr. Armstrong has, throughout the years, been followed, stalked, ridiculed and insulted by this quote unquote community. He receives harassing, hateful mail nearly every day. His family's been harassed as well. He has lost employment opportunities on account of the efforts of this group. If his supervised release is terminated, he would like to relocate and establish a residence slash address that is unknown to the people who send these nearly daily communications. Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck,
Yeah.
motherfucker, because you're still on the registry and that's mandatory. You people need to know where you live for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
So tough shit.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to know about this harassing, hateful mail every day. I don't think he
Yeah.
gets it every day. I don't think he
No, I don't think so either because he would always tell the catfish anytime he'd get a letter,
does. Hmm.
especially a mean letter. Sometimes he would hide the letters from women.
Uh huh. Of
Right. Like,
course.
oh, Lauren, everybody's so mean to you, but I think you're really great. He
Right.
wouldn't tell him about that, but any other time he got mail, he would talk about it. And it was definitely not even close to daily. People send him like magazines
Sure.
or gifts. People send him dog food
Uh huh.
and toys.
Birthday cards, things like that.
I remember one birthday card from Kayla that was really funny.
Oh, what did she
Yeah, it
post?
had
Do you
like
remember?
I can't remember. It had like a princess on it or something. I don't know.
Oh. So it's like a little girl card or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sent him dildos that he kept.
That's weird.
Oh my God, he still had Lamondre.
Uh-huh.
And he threatened Jamie that he was going to use Lamondre on his next girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he used Lamondre on this baby's mother? Do you think she visited the trailer and he's like, I got something for you, baby? And he pulled out
Right.
a giant dildo. And she's like, wow, Lauren, what are you doing with that? What
Why
have
do you
you been
have
doing?
that? I know exactly. That is very strange for him
It
to
is.
have.
So- I know. I know. It's the funniest thing. No woman's going to be like, oh, great. He has sex toys for me. They're for me. No, they're
Right.
going to think they're for you, Lauren.
Yes. Yes. It's a giant dick.
Yeah.
Giant.
And it still smells like Parmesan cheese.
Yep, yogurt, tuna juice, all of that. Yeah.
Oh, this fucking woman needs to explain herself.
I know. Yeah, so maybe she did experience Lamondre and the pecker pouch.
Oh my God, yeah. I forgot about the pecker pouch.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm sure she had all of the pleasure.
In the rotting trailer with the mold, Lauren. Oh my God, I'm just imagining this coupling, this love making session here.
Passion. A lot of passion.
Yeah, so like I said, that comments that mentioned Lorne crying after sex. I don't know if
Mhm.
there's any validity to that, but I always said he is the kind of guy who would cry after sex.
Well, you know what? It's a fact here. We're going to write
I
that
think it
down
is.
as a fact. Yes.
I think it's canon. It fits.
Sure it does. So now we know that his family's been contacted. We know that.
Hmm.
That's not a secret. But as far as him losing employment opportunities because of the group, I don't see how that is possible at all.
Yeah, and I don't remember anything about that. The only way he might have lost employment opportunities, he said that he always tells his like potential employers about the community.
He does.
So if you've got someone coming to a job interview and they're like, just so you know, I was caught on fucking NBC and these fucking retards on the internet that make all these videos are obsessed. Some in a good way, some in a bad way. Then that I think that could affect his employment opportunities. Yeah, because
Yeah.
You're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
And you know what? I think a lot of times the types of jobs that Lorne goes after are basically, they could be like the trucking or they could be some type of manual labor, in a factory. So he could be walking in just to do like they do like a pre screen where maybe he
Mhm.
just has to answer, put down your name, your phone number, how much do you want to get paid, and we'll put you on the list, to give you a call. Imagine he's just doing that, and then he's he's at the front desk just talking about his online obsessors and how he has to, is it okay if I don't come to work on Tuesday because I have treatment class?
Yeah, I've sex offender treatment class. I can't ever come to work on Tuesdays. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, or maybe he said rape class because it was so ingrained in him before when he would be told about that. Yeah,
I hope so.
I know. Oh, what a I just don't think that he lost employment opportunities because I think that this is just another way of Lorne becoming a victim of everything.
Yeah.
How are they going to cost him a job opportunity? There's no way that they're going to know where he's applying.
Right, exactly. Unless he tells them after the fact.
Right.
And then yeah. To my recollection, I don't remember anything like that ever
No,
happening.
no. And I think that the real reason why he's not getting these opportunities is because he's not passing the background.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a felon.
Right. So there's going to be companies who will hire him, but there's others who won't.
Right.
So yeah, it has nothing to do with that. And certainly about him relocating and establishing a residence, that's him trying to hide again.
Mhm.
He's trying to go back into secrecy so he can blend in with the crowd and he can try to be a normal person and not have obviously people drive by his house, take photos, and all of
Right.
that. But at the same time, that's going to be putting him in secret, in
Right.
privacy, which he cannot do because look what
Yeah.
he did when he did have that.
Right. That's what the registry is for.
Exactly.
It's not so people can drive by your house,
Mm,
your house and take
right.
pictures, but
Right.
it's so you can't hide and blend in
Right.
and
Because the
look just
public
like
has
a
to
normal
know.
guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. So
So that doesn't make sense. And getting off probation won't remedy that for him.
no, no, because he does have to be on the registry, and they're not talking about the registry here,
Right.
but that's the only way that he would ever be able to blend in is for that to be removed.
Mhm.
So let's see what else if I can. All right. After more than 5 years in federal prison and more than a decade on supervised release, Mr. Armstrong believes he has learned the lesson our system aims to teach and has attained the stability necessary to move forward with a productive, law abiding life in a new relationship and with a new baby.
Okay, so this is a new. Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going. We'll talk. We'll discuss after.
Okay. He has served more than 1 year of supervised release and thus satisfies the requirement in that statute. His one petition on supervised release was largely centered around his drinking. He's had no court involvement for more than 4.5 years. It does not appear that there is any continuing need to protect the public from Mr. Armstrong.
That's interesting because Lorne said he was going to have his lawyer ask probation if they thought that he was a threat to the public. And the reason that he's still in the class, he should only be in the class if he is a threat to the public.
Mm-hmm.
And remember when he's talking to Casey, he said, I figured out why I'm still in the class. It's because I'm not a threat to the public,
Yes.
which makes no sense.
Right. Yeah. Misunderstanding once again, I think.
Yeah. But so,
Yeah.
okay, this is a new relationship that he's in with a new baby. Well, it's got to be at least 10 months,
Yes.
10-month long relationship. It
Yeah.
can't be that new.
Right.
That's
Not
a
brand new. Yeah.
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
somebody's been together for a year, would you call
Mhm.
that, or nearly a year, would you call that a new relationship?
I mean, if you're just meeting for the first time.
But there's a
They
baby.
did. I know. I know. Maybe this will be the second time that they meet. Yeah.
I'm confused.
I know. I know, but he wants to move forward and be productive and law abiding.
Yeah, because drinking was his only problem. It was all because of the drinking.
Exactly. Yeah, and you're right. Again, they're stating that it was just because it was the drinking. He's had no court involvement for more than 4.5 years. He's been out of prison longer than 4.5 years,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, and drinking wasn't the only problem. The failed polygraphs are a humongous problem.
Massive.
And I know they can't be used and they're not admissible in court,
Hmm.
but they use them as a tool to get people to admit things. And Lauren did admit to fantasizing about kids.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. It gives them a door to investigate.
Hmm.
And I think when he did that, didn't they come and toss his trailer?
They did, yes,
Yeah.
because he failed for searching or like using images of minors
Hmm.
for sexual stimulation. And I think he failed something about seeing naked pictures of kids.
Hmm.
No, he definitely did. He failed for seeing naked images of kids, um, because him and Casey had that conversation. He said he hasn't seen naked kids in years since he used to watch his niece and nephew and they would shower at
Right.
his house
Right.
and just be naked for no reason
Right.
outside of the shower, apparently.
Hmm.
Who knows?
Yeah. Aside from the sentence about the baby, it does not appear there is any continuing need to protect the public from Mr. Armstrong is so disturbing.
Hmm.
There will always be a need to protect the public from Mr. Armstrong. Always.
Absolutely. Especially, eh, I mean, considering not that long ago, he was in Walmart trying to get a teenage girl to um, do a job for him,
Make some
just to get
money.
her, right, just to get her, ingrained in his life.
Hmm.
That's what it was all about, just to have a reason to have contact with that girl.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted. And that is a problem. He does need to be, people do need to be protected from him.
Yeah.
With any freedom, he would absolutely go right back to the same thing.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. All he's worried about is getting caught.
Hmm.
That's it. That's his main concern. And I remember the magistrate from the first, what was it? It wasn't the revocation hearing. It was the one prior to that when he was still in jail, and it was to determine whether he was going to stay in jail or be released until his hearing to get
Hmm.
revoked. Um,
Hmm.
but the magistrate in that hearing was talking about all of the efforts that Lorne does to go undetected,
Hmm.
his continued efforts to do that. That's what the problem is. So it's not only is he breaking probation, and not only is he doing the bad things, whatever they happen to be, but he's focused on avoiding detection of that. That's where his efforts are.
Right.
That's what goes back to the chat log, right? All of the effort
Hmm.
that he made to go undetected there. That was the number one thing. That was the number one thing for him to do. It was the number one thing for him with Molly as well.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it's all about going undetected. When he's speaking with Rhoda, keeping it a secret from Winnie, that was to be undetected. When he put Nikki's phone number as Mom N in his
Mhm.
phone because he knew he wasn't supposed to be talking to her. They've already told him that. He didn't care. All that Lorne cares about is how I'm going to get away with it.
He also told Casey and Jamie, or maybe it was just Casey at this point, that he would only talk to her on his home phone. She was blocked on the cell phone, and it's because the home phone isn't monitored.
Mm-hmm. See?
Yeah, because probation told him you cannot talk to her. You can't send her documents. You can't give her your passwords for your bank account. Are you crazy?
So,
Crazy.
I know, it's crazy. So let's see what the next one. Okay. So here's the conclusion. Wherefore, for all of the foregoing reasons, Mr. Armstrong respectfully asks this court to grant his motion and terminate his supervised release effective immediately.
Well, Mr. Nixon,
Mm-hmm.
that was a weak fucking argument that is so easily disproved by probation.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that probation's just gonna cover this up with a
Hmm.
mountain.
I can't wait to see it too. And I
Yeah.
hope they really do. I hope they really go into detail, like we said, instead
Yeah.
of just kind of taking the easy way out, like, oh, we'll just mention a couple things. The judge
Mm-hmm.
isn't going to grant it anyway. There's no need to really dig it all up
Yeah.
and lay it all on the table. I hope they lay it, every bit of it on the table.
Yeah.
And maybe give us some info we don't even know. Maybe talk about some stuff we don't even know about. That'd be
Right.
exciting.
Just like when we found out he was 87.
Right. Right. Most of all, I need to know what I want probation to come back and be like, we're a baby. What is this baby? We
Uh-huh.
told Mr. Armstrong there is no baby.
Right. That baby's
This woman's
AI,
lying to us.
Lorne.
It's just another catfish going, it's a grown man, but instead of doing like ghost or monkey noises now, he's just going goo goo gaga,
Right.
dada. And I was like, oh, it's my fucking baby.
Uh, yeah, I know. It's so weird to think about. It's so weird to think about.
I
Even the
wish Lauren had
possibility.
a Facebook. Don't I do I know we can't go on Facebook, but I wish he had one just to see his life updates, just to know. Somebody call Lauren.
Right.
Jamie, call Lauren. Casey, maybe. Who hasn't been destroyed yet? I think everybody's been outed
I
as
think,
fake.
yeah, I think everyone has. We're going to need somebody to step up.
Yeah, but don't step up too much, like to the point where
You're right. Don't have his baby.
yeah, that's not that's not a troll. We're not
No, that's
impressed
not a
by that.
troll. No, 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 no,
Nobody's
no
going to give you
babies.
positive attention for that one.
Oh, absolutely not. Quite the opposite. Quite the
Yeah,
opposite would be true. Yeah, man.
I know. I've got so many questions.
I do too. And speaking of the baby, I just wonder what is probation doing to manage that right now? If that's true,
Hmm.
what are they doing?
I don't know. I guess maybe what could they do beyond like additional classes and um, treatment? Maybe to, I don't know, talking to his family or who making this the mother take classes. Well,
Hmm.
she would have to. I
Yeah.
think she would have to. But what if she, I mean, as of right now, she doesn't. If they're long distance, then she does not. But I wonder if they're communicating with her. I don't know.
Has he met this baby yet?
That's another good question.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say no.
Yeah.
My heart is telling me no.
No, I
Oh.
agree. I mean, first of all, that trailer is, I mean, it's not even okay for animal or human
Mhm.
residency,
Mhm.
let alone a baby. I don't care if that baby is going to sit in a little bassinet forever because they don't move yet. That's
No, it's not
still,
safe, period.
no, it's
Right.
not safe, right?
And that is something probation could bring up because they're mandated reporters. If something looks unsafe, they
Mhm.
would have to report that and do something about it,
Yeah.
or pass it off to child protection services or
Mhm.
something. They couldn't let a baby go there.
No, I would say if that were to happen, then they'd probably go to his mother's house.
Yeah, you know what though? There was no talk in that about the mother and the baby going to live with Lorne. It was
No.
all about Lorne going to them.
Yes.
So I don't think we'd have to worry about that.
No, no. I'm just curious if she's come to visit because Lauren can't leave yet.
Well, I mean, yeah, if he got her pregnant, she must have.
Yeah.
And we know Lauren's not going to go to like a hotel or a motel or
No.
something,
Right.
even when it would be in his definitely be in his best interest to. Like during Ramona, she desperately wanted to go to a hotel instead of to his trailer. He completely refused. Casey wanted to go to a hotel instead of his trailer. She told him he could stay at the hotel too, in his own room. Again, no. He wanted her to go to the trailer.
Uh-huh.
It's so stupid. Like go to a hotel. Why would you bring somebody there?
I don't know. I don't know. So I do agree that this motion is weak.
Yeah,
It doesn't really have anything to it. It's basically saying, let him off of probation because that's it.
because you can.
Yeah, because
Right.
you can. Right.
Because you can. And Mr. Armstrong said he's been pretty good. He's been
Right.
pretty good.
Yeah, he's been pretty good and he has a whole new life to look forward to now where he
Hmm.
didn't have that before. And that's going to motivate him to be a good person. He does not need to be monitored anymore.
Yeah, the pedophile had a baby. Why would we
Hmm.
need to monitor him anymore?
Right. Right. So, there's going to be people who are mad that we're even talking about a baby.
Yeah, even entertaining that could be true.
Right.
But this is
Right.
a legal document
It is. It
submitted
is.
to the court. Like
Right.
I think we need to discuss or entertain the fact that it could be true.
Yes. That's the position that I'm taking as well.
Yeah.
Is that I don't know. So, I mean, this is basically just the very, very beginning.
Hmm.
So, according to the docket, James Nixon was appointed as counsel back in February.
Okay.
And so now this was the not the first filing because remember there was that previous filing where he was granted permission to travel to Canada, I believe.
Right.
And so this is the very next one after that. So there hasn't been any activity between these.
So the baby mama is in Canada. I think
Could
that's safe
be.
to say.
It could
'Cause
be.
why else
Yeah.
would he want to go to Canada? Maybe to go see the Canadians, I guess, but they came to see him
Right.
more than once.
Right. I mean it is possible. We just don't know,
I know. I just think
you
that
know.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And there was that talk about a road trip. You can drive to Maine from Canada.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess technically you can drive to Maine from anywhere in the United States,
Mhm.
but it's close enough. that that is a reasonable road trip to
Mhm.
make.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So if that is true, those comments, and I don't think they were up for long before the person deleted them, so I don't think many people saw that.
Yeah.
Um, then, like I said, the person who went to see Lauren and had sex with them is in communication with people in the community. Like it's a community thing. It's not
Mhm.
just Lauren met a woman at the yard sale or at the dump or by some other means.
True.
So,
Yeah.
and they met through, or the woman knows about him from the online stuff
Mhm.
and is in communication with, like, said, he told somebody about it. They told somebody about it,
Yeah.
like it's a troll,
Right.
you know? You
Yeah.
get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I
Like,
do. There's somebody connected,
yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Well, and there, kind of like Sue was talking out of both sides of her mouth. She would
Mhm.
talk shit about Lorne and laugh with the rest of us, but then go hang out with him and like fuck his brother.
Mhm.
That's what this person seems to be doing to, or just like the Canadian couple, they were, you know, messaging people in the community, sharing pictures of Lorne's trailer and
Yeah.
and stuff, but they were also like actually friends with Lorne, hanging out with him.
Mhm.
It seems like that's what this person is doing too.
Yeah, I would say it's absolutely someone who's involved with the community or at least was. That's how they found out about Lauren. This isn't just somebody that he met randomly. He doesn't go
No,
anywhere. He doesn't do anything.
right. I totally agree with that. I guess what is more, I guess it's one thing to see the community's content and to say, oh, this poor guy, I don't agree with what they're doing. I'm going to write to him. I'm going to go see him. And to like know of him through that, but not be involved with it, not
Mhm.
watch the videos or talk to other people in the community. And it's one thing to notice, to like learn about him through the community but not be interested in the trolling stuff,
Mhm.
than to take a troll that far, I guess. Or I don't know, I don't even know anymore. I'm having a crisis here. They might not be connected at all. That person might have been just talking shit, but it does seem kind of, how long ago was that, I wonder?
Yeah,
I don't remember if it was,
I don't
I mean, it
remember
could have
either.
happened. The comments could have, I feel like they weren't put up 9 months ago, that's for sure. But this meeting could have happened and then the commenter just talked about it months later. It could be.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, if that comment is to be believed or if it's true, then sure, it didn't have to be. It's not like it just happened and then they posted it immediately.
Right.
Yeah,
It just seems like it's very coincidental, for them not to be related.
right. Yeah. Lauren's world is very strange,
Hmm.
isn't it?
Hmm.
it's it's so so strange.
I mean, I guess Pepperette might have hooked up with Lauren and left her husband for him. I think that's unlikely, though. I think it's not, I don't think it's her.
Yeah, it's somebody completely separate from
That's
it,
what
you
I
mean?
think. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
Which
think
makes
that
me think.
Prepperette would introduce Lauren to someone?
Just had that pop into my head too. Yeah, it could be because of the Canada thing. Like
Yeah,
Lauren
right,
requested permission to go to Canada.
right.
I don't know if he would go all the way to Canada for a married woman and her husband. Would he go all the way to Canada for a woman that he could have sex with? Yes, I think so.
Hmm.
But maybe, they're all in Canada. Maybe it's a coincidence, but maybe not. Maybe this is Prepperette introduced him to someone and they hit it off.
Oh my God. That
Because she did
conversation.
say
Could you
his
imagine?
I really couldn't. I don't understand. But we know Pepperette, I'm sure she wouldn't be above introducing him to one of her friends to like hook them up, play matchmaker. She said his
Yeah.
sexuality is none of her business and he was real nice to her. So,
Mhm. Yeah, that is true. And if he doesn't think that, or she doesn't think that he's dangerous or anything, thinks that he's just a nice guy who's had a hard time because people are mean to him,
mhm.
then sure, maybe.
Yeah, we just don't know yet. It's killing me. I
We're
want to know.
dying over here. We're dying.
Yes, Mrs. Armstrong, if you're listening,
Hmm.
Mrs. Armstrong, I want you to please reach out to us. We will keep your identity anonymous. We won't out you,
No.
but we would love to to find out what the fuck is wrong with you.
Oh,
I want you to explain to me what the fuck is wrong with you. I want you to excuse your behavior. Make me understand why this is okay
yeah.
and why you don't deserve to have. Well, now I'm kind of messing it up. I don't think anybody's going to apologize, but I'm being kind of mean.
She didn't mean that last part. Okay. She only means she means the nice part where we just want to have a conversation.
We just want to talk. We're not judging you.
No.
We just want to understand, you scumbag. We just want to
See?
understand you.
You did it
Okay.
again.
I just edit that part out.
Uh, well, the email address will be in the description. So feel free. Feel free to step forward. And anyone else too, if you'd like to shoot
Yeah.
us an email, please do. We love to hear from you. And in the comments, we'd love to hear your theories, what your thoughts are. Tell us your thoughts. What was you
Yeah.
thinking?
Yeah. What was you thinking? Tell us if you think Lorne is really a dad, or if he's not, give me a really believable explanation for all of this that
Mhm.
does not include Lorne um, being a parent. Please give me one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about myself.
Yes. Yes. So the stance is from me is that this is a legit document. Do you
Yeah,
agree?
I do agree with that. It's the baby question that's got me
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
worked up.
Right. It came out of nowhere. You can't drop something like that on us, Mr. Nixon. You need to warm us up to that.
Was something on the temple not long ago about Lorne. There was the baby registry thing, remember?
Yes.
And about Lorne becoming a father, but the registry was clearly a joke. Wasn't there
Yes.
were like ham cubes on it or something?
Yeah, it was very lornography
Yes,
centered.
but there was this talk about him being having a baby. Could it be coincidental? Yes, probably. I don't think so though. Like that would be one hell of a
No.
coincidence.
Yeah, I agree. Um, it is very, very interesting. I think certainly if the baby topic was not in here, there would be no question. I think that we would just take this document and say, okay, yep, he's trying to get off of probation again.
Yeah.
But now this drops a whole nother bomb really
And
on
here's my
everything.
so I'm hoping, okay, here's what I'm hoping
Okay.
is that um some crazy woman did go to see Lorne.
Hmm.
She did have sex with him. It
Hmm.
happened, okay? It's all right. But is she is a deranged catfish. Like she is a catfish, but a really weird one. Like
Okay.
really dedicated to the troll
Okay.
and a little bit sick and a lot sick. But she did not have a baby
Hmm.
by Lorne. But that's part of the catfish. Like she went back and told him, like, Lorne, I'm pregnant, you're gonna be a father, and like sends him videos of babies, that she just got off Google or something. My hope is there is no baby. It is an elaborate catfish.
Hmm.
But Lorne did have sex and he did cry after.
I like it.
I hope that's what happened. And I hope probation says that too. I hope they come back and they're like, we told Mr. Armstrong, we did a reverse image search of
Right.
the pictures she sent him of the baby, and it's a stock, it's a Shutterstock photo. It's not his
Yeah.
baby. We keep trying to tell him, he won't listen.
Right. He didn't even notice the watermarks all over it.
Right. He doesn't even know what they are.
That's
So
right.
I said earlier, and this is really mean, but I'll only believe this when I see the DNA test and I see, well, only fully believe it when I see the DNA test and I see an ugly baby with lopsided ears.
Oh. See, I can't be that mean to the baby.
Well, that baby's fucked already.
No, it
I
is.
can't.
It is, but I think in a really really sad way.
Yes, of
You know,
course.
I think in a really sad way. But just like with you, I am hoping that this is just some ridiculous scheme that Lorne was told this and he believes it
Hmm.
and they've just ran with it. You know.
And I don't think that's unlikely.
I don't think so either. I mean, think about the fact that he's been catfished for over 20 years.
Right. Right. And he always believes
He
the most
always believes
ridiculous
it.
things.
Yeah.
From Rhoda's phone funeral to
Mhm.
LJ. I mean, he falls for everything.
Yes.
To Winnie being the Pepsi girl,
Mhm.
to Casey Morrow contacting him and wanting to date him 7 times as 7 people,
Right.
7 different versions of her. He Okay, that's what I'm holding out for.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And of course, Mr. Nixon is his attorney,
Hmm.
and so it is his duty to act on his behalf. And you can see that he doesn't have a lot to go on.
Right.
He has what one statute that he can point to, one
Hmm.
code. That's it. He doesn't have anything else.
Right, and he's just going off what Lauren said, what Lauren told him.
Right. Exactly. And the other thing that's interesting too, and I was going to bring this up probably when we talk about his motion when he was trying to have his plea agreement changed.
Hmm.
But in there, when he was denied, it said it's because you've accepted this sentence.
Right.
You knew what you were accepting. And if you've ever watched a proceeding like this where there is a plea agreement, they run through those questions very specifically and directly. Did
Mhm.
you have time to discuss with your attorney? Would you like time to discuss with your attorney? Do you understand? That's what it comes down to. Do you understand that you're waiving this, that you're waiving that? Should that happen? And when Lorne said yes, 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 while he was crying through an ocean of tears and apologizing to the world, it said in there that basically you can't try to then attack your sentence later on.
Mhm.
This is the one that you're accepting. You know what the consequence is going to be of doing that. And, but this is what he's doing now.
Right.
He's trying to change it, and he's always been trying to change it.
Mhm.
So it seems like that would be a reason why it can't be changed either.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I ultimately I think it comes down to his behavior and his history, just like
Mhm.
it said that it would. They can make exceptions for people who have done exceptionally well on probation and let them off. Lauren is not a case of that. He hasn't demonstrated that.
No, and also he's on Lifetime. And I wonder how
Mhm.
many people who were on Lifetime have ever gone off of that.
Yeah,
Because
that's a good question.
yeah, that's not a light thing. They don't
Right.
just hand out lifetime probation for
Mhm.
nothing. I mean, even look at the
No.
parole hearings that we
Mm.
watched.
Yep.
They don't have lifetime. The only lifetime was Joshua being on the registry. He didn't even have lifetime probation.
Right. A lot of the guys on TCAP also didn't end up with lifetime
Mhm.
probation or a lifetime on the registry.
Yeah, it depended on where they were.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't think that is something that frequently happens.
Mhm.
The court is essentially changing their mind.
Right.
And I don't think that happens all too often either, except with extraordinary evidence.
Right, exactly. That's the thing. That was the other thing that was pointed out too, was that in order to reverse this, to change the sentence, to change the plea, you would have to show that there's new evidence.
Yeah.
Is there something that wasn't presented at that time that changes the course of everything? And the answer is no here. There's no change of evidence. There's nothing different. What is
What
he gonna
makes it
is he gonna pull out his wrinkly coffee stained, or as you say, shit stained papers, that are printouts from corrupted justice? And
that is shit.
I know it is. I would never say that
Ew.
it isn't. I wouldn't dare.
Don't start this again.
I won't. It's shit, okay? It's shit. But I mean, there isn't anything. There isn't anything new. Nothing at all.
Mm-mm.
No. So the government and probation, they have until the 29th to respond.
What's today?
It's the 8th.
Oh my God. Hurry up. I need to hear it.
It was just filed today as well. So so let's give them an opportunity until at least the close of business tomorrow.
Yeah, they do need a little bit of time to get it all
Mhm.
together.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
It's all right if they take their time as long as it's thorough. I want it
As
thorough.
long as it's thorough and we have access to it.
I know, I hope so.
I hope so too, because we'll be able to cover that as well. We'll have a lot
Mhm,
to talk
definitely.
about. All right. Well, I think we will leave this here then, and we will see what comes up, hopefully sooner than later. Yes. So until then, take care.